My name is Dolores Mensah Hervie. I'm a PhD student from St. Ichvan University. My presentation is about the history of industrialization and its impact on Ghana. I'll start with the outline. I'll talk about the purpose of the study, give an introduction to the study, and then I'll look at the four phases of the history of industrial revolution, and then I'll talk about industrialization in Ghana, give a conclusion and recommendation. The purpose of the study is to examine the history of industrialization, its impact on economic development in the world, and especially in Ghana. Industrialization simply means economies migrating from agriculture to a global expansion of mechanized manufacturing processes, and this definition was given by Chapter 2019. Industrialization means individuals' work are substituted by automated bulk manufacturing, and artisans were also substituted by production lines. Features of industrialization include economic growth. Industry supports GDP and increase in employment of economies. And its industrialization promotes division of labor or specialization. It also enhances culture because we have people moving from places looking for jobs. So there is exchange of culture. There is also technological innovation to solve problems. Industrialization started in Britain in the 18th century and then spread to the rest of the world. And there was the invention of the steam engine that was used for manufacturing, and this took place in 1760. The steam engine allowed for a shift from farming to mechanized processes. And during this time, in the 18th century, coals were used for the generation of energy, and the main transportation was trains. And there was the manufacturing of textiles and steels. Most of the factories that were established during this period manufactured textiles and steels, and they provided employment, value of output, and then capital investment. Now I'll look at the second phase of industrialization, which started in the late 19th century and the early 20th century. Industries began exploring the use of natural resources like light metals, alloys, synthetic products like plastics, and the new energy sources like the biogas, biofuels, natural fuels. It happened during the second phase of the industrialization. Then machines were developed, tools were developed, computers were developed. Then governments focused on meeting socio-economic needs of industries. There was increase in competition and persistent demand for orders from the products manufactured from the factories. And there was the perception that employees, when they are well remunerated and trained, they will work very fast. The third phase of industrialization began in the second half of the 20th century. There was the introduction of notable technologies such as the internet, digital revolution, mainframe, and personal computers were also developed. Electronics and information technology began to automate production and moved supply chain globally. But during that period, economies suffered the economic crunch, which slowed down GDP across the globe, and productivity declined. In Europe, they came up with a strategy called SMART. The European Union came out with a strategy called the Smart Europe Plan, which helped in the roadmap for new infrastructure of the 5G internet. And there was the introduction of renewable energy and automated driverless transport. This move or this strategy also this move took place in China, US, and most parts of the world. The fourth phase of industrialization was a build-up of the third phase, and it brought about largely digital, biological, and physical innovations. There was introduction of digital technologies to create product design and what we call the 3D printing. Compared to the previous industrial revolutions, the fourth industrial revolution was involving. We are still in the fourth industrial revolution anyway, and there was rapid changes, and this was reported by Zhu, David, and Kim 2018. It has the potential to raise income, the fourth industrial revolution, and improve the quality of life for populations around the globe. Now, I'm moving on to talk about industrialization in Ghana. Ghana's industrialization started after the Second World War, and there were just few factories, about 4, and what they did was to fell timber and logs for export. And Ghana's economy then was very slow because most of its raw materials were exported to Britain. The then government introduced a strategy that was after the Ghana gained its independence. The government introduced a strategy called the import substitution industrialization, which was to transform Ghana's industrial structure to reduce dependency on its colonial masters. It sought to use Ghana's natural domestic resources to satisfy the basic needs of its population, create jobs, integrate and promote technological progress into its economy. It developed a large-scale capital-intensive manufacturing industries, but these industries were owned by the state. Now, Ghana's industrialization is picking up. In fact, in 2018, Ghana's industrial sector was the highest growing sector with a GDP of 10.6. This was followed by agriculture with 4.8%, and then the service sector with 22.7. The national GDP stood in the same year, 2018, stood at 6.3%. Ghana's economy is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa today. With regards to technology, Ghana is expanding its fiber optic network, and most of educational institutions in Ghana have internet access. Organizations have internet access. There is trade liberalization, there is financial liberalization, and then there is interest rate liberalization. There was an introduction of market-determined exchange rate with a minimum intervention from the government or from the central bank. The government is also putting in place structures to improve the unemployment rate in Ghana. Ghana aimed at stabilizing its economy and laying the groundwork for sustainable, fast and job creation, agro-based industrial growth. The Ministry of Trade and industry has reformed administrative procedures to create a favorable business environment for businesses to operate. And the government, among other things, have instituted tax policies to generate income for the country. An example I can mention is the value added tax, and then import tax on imported items, all in the name of boosting industries in Ghana. Ghana's broad industrial policy is focused on enabling the private sector, particularly small and medium-sized enterprises, to increase sustainable employment and technological capability within a highly competitive manufacturing sector, and then to promote agro-based industrial development to add value to productions and Ghana's traditional and non-traditional exports. So value will be placed on the products that Ghana manufacture before it is exported, so that the value will be added to the products. Then it also aims at reducing poverty and inequalities to the barest minimum and redistribute industries across the country. Now it's like industries are centered in urban areas, and so you will see rural migration, people migrating from the rural areas in search of jobs in urban centers. But when industries are established or developed in all regions of the country, both rural and urban, rural-urban migration will cease, and it will boost development, industrial development in the country. In conclusion, I'll state that industrialization brought rapid expansion of innovation, technology, and infrastructure, paving the way for development leading to better life. Emerging economies like Ghana is learning from this towards its own industrialization drive. Ghana is gradually building industrial capacity, which is projected at 9.8% in 2019 and 5.9% in 2020. There is the likelihood that the global pandemic may hamper the 2020 outlook. Between 2000 and 2017, the total value of machinery imports in Ghana increased fourfold to $670 million. This rapid increase in machinery imports had a substantial adverse effect on the country's current account balance, but it reflects a gradual shift towards industrialization. The source of this information is from the African Development Bank Report 2018. Recommendations: the government of Ghana should take the necessary steps to enforce its industrial policy, like the National Medium-Term Development Framework of 2010 to 2013, and then the Private Sector Development Strategy. All these are geared towards helping the economy to develop. The fourth revolution and digitization would transform Ghana into a global powerhouse if the following are consistently pursued. 1. Continuous modernization of agriculture and agro-industries. Diligent policies to improve financial services and increase investment in the country. Reinventing labor, skill, and production. increase economic growth with improved structural transformation. Thank you very much, and kusunum sipin.